Hi, this is Matt with Intergalactic Herald, just doing my podcast, Star OS Week in Review podcast. This is podcast episode 41. All articles or videos mentioned can be found on intergalacticherald.com. Just look for news recap number 90. So just a couple intro things first. If anybody's interested in being a podcast guest, definitely open to that, either through interview, can join me kind of for a roundtable discussion, the week in review. So definitely happy to have people on. Secondly, I do have two Star Atlas projects in the build program that I'm constantly working on, though not making much progress. One is a merch store called intergalacticgear.com. That's at intergalacticgear.com. Right now, I'm doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes things, setting up the business, getting a bank account, business license, LLC. There's a lot of things, and it takes time. You got to be patient. Anyways, but if you go to the website, I do have a merch survey. Love for you to fill out what merch, Star Atlas merch, you might be interested in, and that'll help inform some of the products going forward. The second kind of project I'm working on is what I call the Intergalactic Coalition. That's at intergalacticcoalition.com. This is what I'm calling my non-guild guild. Basically, it's a paid community, but it's for people who just want to be gamers within Star Atlas, want to hang out, talk to other gamers, not really interested in joining a guild and the different things that the guilds offer. Again, nothing wrong with guilds, great structure, but if you just sort of want to hang out, play, talk about different things like that, this is kind of the place for you. It is a paid community for two reasons. One is the platform I want to use is different than Discord. It allows for threaded discussions and email alerts for topics you want to follow. That costs money. So obviously I need to make some money to pay for that. Secondly, I do want to bluntly make some money for the time I'm putting into all of this. So it's not necessarily a way to support, it's a way to actually provide that. So again, if you're interested in kind of a community of Star Atlas gamers that isn't actually a guild, but nevertheless a community, please go to intergalacticcoalition.com. So let's get into the bulk of the podcast content. Interestingly, not a lot was announced from the team this week, but some other content creators were able to get some information, official information, allowed for release as we're approaching the end of the year in the month of December. So I want to give a lot of credit to AFIA, and in this case, Funcracker, for putting together a potential release timeline. He did get this approved from some information that was posted in the Foundation Room, and he was allowed to share that with the community. So he put together kind of a release timeline. So I thought I'd just kind of go over that. So first, even though it is, as I record this, December 9th, there's potentially some releases from Star Atlas coming out before the end of the year. So the first one is the DAC platform. Again, DAC is short for Distributed Autonomous Corporation. So it's basically the guild platform that would have, I believe, on blockchain registration and alignments and things like that. So the guilds can form and then have, I guess we'll using the blockchain kind of trustless arrangements of that. So again, it's been talked about for a long time, so I actually don't remember all the features set. So, but anyway, so that's one. Two, potentially by the end of the year, is the next release of the showroom. Now, if I understand this correctly, this release isn't the release we've been anticipating, much as common in software development, there's numbers. So this would be release 2.1.9. I think we're on 2.1, but I am not 100% sure. But the one that had been talked about is 2.2. So this is sort of an interim. I didn't write down all the potentials. Again, if you go to intergalacticherald.com, look for news recap number 90. You can find the link to AFIA's newsletter, and you can read from the source. What I kind of anticipated this, or what I kind of gathered from the different things, was it's a continuation of the development, but not all the features that they wanted to get out, they could. So this is sort of an interim. Again, it gets complicated if you really think about it. But anyways, potentially something new to the showroom could be released, which obviously would have some new functionality. But again, what is that exact functionality until it comes out? We'll really know. And then the third thing is what I guess they're now calling Sage Labs 3D. So my understanding is we got Sage Labs, which is the 2D browser interface. This 3D Labs 3D would be that functionality, but on the 3D platform that they're going to be using for future versions of Sage. So I think that platform is called OpenGL? No. Sorry. Forgot. But anyways, it's something, maybe it'll come to me. But anyways, so to step back, we have the true immersive 3D game that's going to be built on the Unreal Engine. But there is some Play Canvas, that's the name of it. So there is this other technology called Play Canvas, which allows for three-dimensional graphics rendered within a web browser. So something there. Now, will that mean there's other features? Again, this is just somebody getting approval to say some things. So who knows what's exactly coming, if anything. So, but what these aren't, so these are things that have now been officially postponed, or not postponed, but not coming out this year, will be the next true release of the showroom, this 2.2, which should have a lot of what I think was demonstrated at the Breakpoint conference. So the racing component, I'm not sure if the 3D or the shooter game is there or the multiplayer. But again, those, that was the release those were saved for. And then the Sage Star-based, which is the Sage in a 3D environment, i.e. using the Play Canvas, but the current map, which has all the star bases existing, if I remember correctly, those star bases would not be there, and the goal of this version of Sage is to have the factions, so not the guilds, but the factions, build or communally work on building up those star bases. Now I just remember little star space stations. I don't know. Anyways, build something. And level those up. I think the central space stations are still there because that's where you enter the game. But anyways, and then later on, the actual combat in Sage. So this would be, I believe, the thought was ship-to-ship combat. But again, it's been talked about so long ago. And then what has already been announced and then I guess reconfirmed is that these crew packs, the idea that we will actually, if we already own a ship, we will get our crew, whatever is allocated to the ship we own, released, and these crew packs will be in a sense I think NFTs of the crew, so they'll be kind of generated, so there's a whole chance of procedural, well, maybe not procedural, but uniqueness to the crew. So not everybody gets the same pilot. They're all different. I think, again, we only saw the video at the Breakpoint thing, but again, that's something there. So it's great to hear. It's great that the team decided to allow someone to announce this. However, I have a couple thoughts on it. One, end of the year. Christmas is 25th, so I would be shocked that they're working after Christmas. Two, if you release something and there's a bug, the community is going to demand that to be fixed. So, don't release it on January 24th. So what are we talking? December 24th. So are we talking December 20th, December 15th? Again, it's December 9th. So I don't want to be pessimistic, but I was kind of surprised to hear that they were going to actually release something. Now, again, maybe these have been fully done and internally tested and things like that. But as we saw with the Sage Labs rollout, there was a community test which got people up in arms of who got access to it. So I don't know. I kind of, well, again, it's ambitious, but will they actually deliver it? We'll see. On the other hand, maybe this is much more realistic now, because, as has been mentioned a couple times, the team, I shouldn't say the Star Atlas employee count is much smaller. There's been talk, I think in a couple of Michael Wagner's interviews, that a smaller set of employees has actually allowed for easier to communicate, easier to pivot when needed, make changes and things like that, where a larger company size, it takes a lot more effort. So kind of be nimble and stuff like that. And again, a lot of startups talk about, once they get to a certain level, they have to add levels of middle management and things like that. So again, the potential benefit of the layoffs was it made the team much more focused. So maybe this is all realistic and they can get all this stuff out. So at the end, I'm fine. Time will tell. Part of me would be like, really cool. I do plan to take some close up, well, I shouldn't say close my business, but drastically reduce what my clients expect from me between Christmas and New Year's, and then take a few personal days, truly vacations after that. So I wouldn't be releasing anything right now. But again, we'll see. Time will tell. Part of me is, again, would be cool to have something to play on my break. But again, if there's a bug or something, again, I'd wait till the first of the year. But again, I'm not running this ship, so I don't have to worry about it. Funcracker in his AFIA newsletter also had some interesting news on some sales that were happening in the community on the marketplace. Some members of AFIA were really great with data analysis and pulling all the data off the blockchain, what's going on. So some of the Armstrong ships are really selling. And I guess the claim stakes tier 5, the highest level ones, those sold out finally. I think on the Armstrong ships, of the 3, the littler one completely sold out on the original discount that Star Atlas was presenting. So anyway, so that's cool. Ships are moving and being sold in USDC. So same with the claim stakes. Additionally, that was in the newsletter that was allowed to be posted was that Star Atlas themselves, the company, Automaton, I never know how to say it right because it's also ATMA. Well, anyways, that were quote unquote cash flow positive and profitable. I believe it was for the month of November. And interesting how focused the community was earlier in the year. I'm pretty sure a lot of last year, especially after the FTX implosion, cash flow was a major concern. I'm not even sure they were ever profitable. Maybe they were, but definitely cash flow, or because cash flow related to the runway, can they develop the product? So the fact that the team is now comfortable saying that in public, that they're cash flow positive and profitable, that's great. I think it was alluded to that these are from the marketplace sales. So again, each transaction? Yeah, I think every transaction within the marketplace. Yeah, because if you stake your Polis, you can get a small one. So yeah, so I think every transaction in the marketplace, there's a fee, and now I'm thinking this through. I'm assuming it goes to the team. Again, I don't really know where the DAO fits in, but anyways, so hopefully there's that, and then all the sales for sure, the USDC sales, origination sales in the marketplace, that money goes directly to Star Atlas. And then I think the Atlas payer inside of Sage Labs, those fees are going to the team. Actually, I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, whatever mechanism that is giving them money, they're getting more money. So they're able to be cash flow positive. So that's really great. So Funcracker, did lots of great to get all that put together. And he's usually always very thorough in getting all this information. So I appreciate that. Plus, it's an email newsletter, so it's easy for me to read and easy for me to summarize here. One other at first not interesting, but after a while, interesting thing happened. It was posted on Twitter from Michael Wagner, the CEO. So it's taken a little while for me to really understand this whole thing, but there's quote unquote a partnership with something called Neo Tokyo Network. So at first, a lot of people in the Star Atlas Discord said what is this? And Kriggs from the Hologram News Network put out a Medium article, so that helped. There were some additional things at the weekly Atlas Brew, and just through kind of more and more hearing about it, kind of put it together. So apparently Neo Tokyo is a membership, but I also heard it referred to as a what do you call it? What are those things called? The PFP, the pictures. So they're NFTs, but they're the pictures you put on your profile picture. You know what I'm talking about. Those things that by owning one of those, you get access to this group. And the group is founded by a couple of crypto Web3 gaming influencers or pundits, or I don't know, but people that are in the know. So apparently Michael Wagner purchased his way into this. So again, I'm not sure if this was invitation. Hey, well, you're invited, but you got to pay for entry. But it also sounded like a networking group. In my world, we sometimes call these masterminds, where business leaders get together and can talk about their businesses, have what are called hot seats. There's quite a number in the marketing field, some of them very high priced too, but you get access to people. And one of the big things within businesses, it's who you know and who knows you. So as I started learning more about this and realizing, and somebody says, well, did he buy it himself or did the company buy it? I'm like, who cares? He's the CEO. It's irrelevant. It'd be like saying, I don't know, sorry, I'm dating myself, but Bill Gates can't be in a group because the business bought it. It's a business expense. I pay for networking groups for my business. So anyway, but I think the real interesting one is, again, if there was any sort of, but even if there wasn't, just getting more access to groups of obviously movers and shakers and other people. If there is a entry fee, that narrows the group. Not everybody can join. You have to have the money, hence maybe a stable and profitable business, and so you can join. So any place where one, Star Atlas can make connections is good, and two, as a CEO, having access to other CEOs, especially within Web3 crypto gaming, these are all positives. Just again, a lot of people, myself included, had never heard of it, but why would I? I don't run in those groups, so. So anyways, so that was another interesting development. Another thing I'd like to talk about, which was kind of very thought-provoking, and I really want to send my appreciation to Kriggs of the Hologram News Network, is he wrote an article. I should have got the title. But again, if you go to intergalacticherald.com and look for News Recap number 90, you'll find a link to the article on Medium. And it was about I think it was like there's some security concerns or something within the Star Atlas. And at first I was trying to wait, is this kind of, what is it called? Theory crafting. Just coming up with stuff and inventing things, which again, that's fine. Just not my thing, but people want to do it, predict what they think the game will be like down the road, or write their own lore. Again, everybody can do whatever they want. But actually, it was more talking about the actual geopolitical aspects of Star Atlas and how guild alliances may cause security. I'm not sure I like the word security, but it cause conflicts, and where one guild in their alliance has a big ship, and that one causes another guild who wants to be in competition to then have to go out and buy a ship of a similar size. Kriggs alluded to some of the things that started like World War I, because the Archduke was assassinated in, I can't remember, Serbia or somewhere, that caused this other country to join and fight them, and then the alliance with that, and pretty soon it was a world war. I'm forgetting my World War I history. I'm much more World War II. I like World War II history. Anyways, but again, it was interesting because he was mentioning real world guilds, but the guilds, and like Rome, for example, the Rome Guild has made an alliance with YGG, which is a guild of guilds. Sorry, I just can't keep all this stuff. But then some internal guilds like AFN, I don't know, or making an alliance with them, someone else within it. And there's the consortiums of like all the Oni guilds or stuff like that. So I think it was a very interesting analysis of guild structure, how that could actually cause conflict. However, so that's, go read the article. I mean, again, I'm totally not summarizing it well. Sorry. Again, I read it like 3 or 4 days ago. So my take on it was, one, perhaps this could happen someday. It's true. I mean, alliances and things like that. I think the article kind of ended with the idea that maybe there needs to be some sort of United Nations so that people could have a place to discuss their concerns and try to diffuse situation through diplomacy, hence the geopolitical part of Star Atlas. But a couple of the things, and again, these are just thoughts, and probably based on what I want to get out of Star Atlas. One was there's going to be a future conflict because people have bigger ships and attack you or something like that. Okay, I guess. And again, I don't know what happens in games like EVE Online or Star Citizen, so this could be quite common. I'm just not that knowledgeable about this, but part of it again is that I'm not really interested in the future combat. Again, that's just my personal game style. I've mentioned it many times before. I kind of just want to be in space and maybe set up some mining things and harvest stuff and trade and protect my land claims or something. We don't even know what the future holds. So again, whatever I want, who knows if the game does it. But I was also a little bit kind of thinking through, I'm like, well, but the whole universe isn't going to be about combat. And again, I remember, and I've mentioned this before, I really like the concept that Star Atlas has mentioned on the security zones or the risk zone. So the high risk zone, you could lose everything, permanently, your ship, your assets. The medium risk zone, where If you lose a battle, you just have to respawn and you lose the stuff in your cargo, but you don't lose your ship. But then there's a safe zone. And again, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time since we talked about these. There's no combat in the safe zone. I guess they never inferred that there's mining, or so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have to be in the medium risk zone to go mining. I don't know. So anyways, does there have to be conflict? And if there doesn't, then do we need... Anyways, in the end, I really, again, caught it really thought-provoking because it kind of gets us back to, like, what is Star Atlas? And again, if we go to the top or the homepage, it was, again, exploration, politics, and economy. So this is definitely under the politics side of it. And again, we're not even getting into how the DAOs and yeah, anyway. So again, it was very thought-provoking. But it also kind of got me kind of going back to other things. And one of them was, will there actually ever be an economy? So again, we got Sage Labs now. Definitely we're mining. Yeah, I guess we're calling it mining. We're mining, so we're getting raw resources. Then we bring them back and we craft them. And so we take the raw resources, turn them into some other resources. Again, there's fees, there's consumables on those. And then theoretically, we take those and we put them on the marketplace, and now we can actually sell them. Yes, that's an economy. And there's no combat. So again, we don't know what combat is like in either the Sage one or the showroom/UE5. But there was something I was told or learned, and I've kind of kept it, that why do people go on YouTube? Well, they either go there to learn something or be entertained. I kind of got thinking again, why do people play games? Or why are people even in Star Atlas right now? I would suggest, or I would say a lot of people are in it for fun. I know I am. And you don't have to be one or the other. I don't know on YouTube how you can be entertaining and learn something, but I guess it could. But whatever. My analogy doesn't work anymore. But I was again thinking about some of the things that have been talked about within Sage Labs when things get changed, and I'm like, again, I stopped playing because it wasn't fun. It took too much time, and I wasn't getting anything where I can just put my ships back and score, and I get something for a very limited time. Now, maybe I can get more in Sage, but I don't classify any of this as fun. Is it getting money? Yeah, definitely. And with the rising price of Atlas and Polis and Solana, lots of talk again has come back about the money side of Star Atlas and crypto. Again, nothing wrong with that. But again, I was kind of going like, if there's a chance to lose stuff through conflict, through combat, I mean, as a business owner, I'm not going risky. I mean, I might take a risk, but I wouldn't bet the whole farm, like my ship or my business. No way. I put too much money into it. I want incremental gains. I mean, 5 to 10% profit a year would be awesome. I don't need 50%. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be great. I'd love to win the golden tickets. But anyways, my point being is, you got a lot of this. And then I was even kind of thinking like the whales, the people with the very large whatevers, coins, tokens, ships, whatever. Are they going to be willing to risk? I mean, again, people put tons of money on casino games and lose money. So I don't know how a whale or anybody with that kind of money thinks. But again, I get back to, if there's an economy and now there's combat and they're together. Again, this is the cool part about Star Atlas. All of these I think can work together, but I don't know. It got me thinking, and then I kind of go down rabbit holes or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. So moving on to my checklist. As much as all of this is also interesting, if you look at the actual current development, this seems so far off. Now, again, maybe we'll get the DAC platform and the guilds can start organizing. But organizing to do what? So far, what we've been told is it's kind of more like a traditional video game. There'll be racing. Maybe there'll be a shooter with multiplayer. None of this geopolitical stuff has any effect in that. Guilds, I mean, if I'm racing, I guess I could be racing for my guild. Maybe there's a guild benefit if my racer wins. Maybe, again, if we take it to the Formula One example, the guild has a racing team and they're sponsored and they go out and they get the prize money. Oh, okay, cool, I guess. But it sure sounds more like individuals racing around, running around, shooting each other in the multiplayer thing. So again, it feels just like a traditional game. But at the end of the day, though, and the promise and what the vision for StarOS is that it could be big enough for all of this. So it's cool. But I mean, I'm totally all over the map on this one because again, it just got me thinking that, maybe I'm just getting a little disillusioned. And you kind of heard it when I was saying, yeah, sure, they're really going to come up those things by the end of the year with, literally 10 days until December 19th. Nothing's coming out in 10 days. 3 things aren't coming out in 10 days. No one's going to release something 5 days before Christmas. Not to mention Christmas is on a Monday. Anyway, sorry. I'm talking about my disillusionment. So I agree that the team's idea of building the public is novel. It is interesting because we get access as the community to the inside stuff, even if we don't get 100% access. So other games are built in private for years, as Danny mentioned on, I think, his interview, and they wanted to do something different. And I'm totally on board with that. It's great. But it also is showing that it does take a lot of time to get things. And again, maybe with the larger staff and the reductions and maybe be more focused now, we will see a faster cadence. Because again, everything that was mentioned either this year or next year, I mean, those 6 things are great. That would be really interesting. And again, I've been saying this for years. I think the real key is replay value. As much as I thought Sage Labs could have replay value, to me, just didn't yet. But the other thing that I was realizing is games today just have a very short life. Sure, EVE Online and Star Citizens are multi-year things, and we could debate whether or not Star Citizen is really out. But again, I'm not here for that. But most games, they're flash in the pans. And again, some of it's for economic reasons. Game studios, like whoever makes, or the multiple, I guess the publisher Call of Duty, which I guess now is Activision, which means now Microsoft, has multiple game studios working on it. So their business model is to release one every year. So the gamers pay their $60 and then times it by how many, and you make $100 million or $300 million or whatever. I mean, they make a ton of money. But nobody thinks about the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 anymore or something like that because there's whatever the next one is. So, and I guess the other part of the disillusionment is that now that I've been in this almost 2 years now, I think it was December 2 years ago, I bought the first ship and heard about the Star Atlas game a month before. We've had lots of community members kind of go in and out because, again, 2 years is a long time to stay completely in it constantly. Your life changes, things like that. So anyways, long-winded, totally random tangents and all that. It was a great article, very thought-provoking, and I wish there was more of this long-form content that was coming out. So again, I want to compliment Kriggs for writing that and obviously having a really intriguing thought on the geopolitical aspects of Star Atlas and how it will lead to potentially security concerns, which might cause an arms race where we need a United Nations. Yeah, that's thought-provoking. So again, kudos for him for writing that. So moving on, a couple last-minute things to update. One, Mission 3 of Never Alone has started. So it's got the kind of first initial ones of tweet something and answer some questions and get some code. So the cool thing that we're moving forward. So I'm really, really glad that this isn't being abandoned. I wasn't 100% sure because I was not familiar with these kind of quest community activities. But now that I've done 2 missions and got all 3 of the, whatever we're calling them, fragments, yeah, I want to see this through the end. So I'm glad we've got back on track with the delay. I think it was delayed to the Sage Labs being delayed. And so we'll see what comes out. Now, one small little tidbit, one of the fragments turned out to be a new pet called, I don't remember what it's called because it just came out. Anyways, there is lots of people on Twitter, and definitely Twitter, maybe in the Discord too, but I saw it on Twitter, commenting on this creature. And it's just a single image, so we don't have anything else. But the question seemed to be universally, is it cute? And I have to admit, it's just fun. And whether it was intended or not, if this was planned, these are great. These are fun parts of the community because they're completely just irrelevant, but yet fun. So again, if you look at, I'm sure one of the videos, I think it was Atlas Theory in my news recap, had his video on the Never Alone campaign in the picture. Again, I can't remember what the name of the creature is. Sorry. I mean, barely remembered the first one, Tigu, but it's only because it's been around for 2 years. So is it cute? I am the beholder, but I did mention, I think in a YouTube comment to Atlas Theory's post, I'll reserve judgment until I see it in 3D. But yeah, right now there's something off on this. Again, maybe I'm just not. Again, it's interesting how it's divisive when it should. Again, it's just fun, and I'll admit that again, it's fun. Last thing, the Atlas Brew this week had a guest, calling him Economy Chris. I wish I could remember people's titles, but I can't. But anyways, he's pretty sure he's the head of economy for the game. Anyways, he was talking about a few things. Great listen. If, again, you're trying to figure out the economy and stuff, I always find all his interviews to be very insightful. This guy's smart, but I probably partly because I couldn't tell you economic factors from anything. But he's got his stuff. I'm pretty sure he has master's or PhD or something. I should probably look that up. Anyways, some of the things that came out, again, we're talking about that definitely there will be continued ongoing economic changes, and was wanting to kind of get the community's feedback on like the frequency of that. Totally applaud the Star Atlas team for asking and getting feedback from the community. So that's great. They also were some discussions about the how to communicate the changes and pros and cons of each thing. At the end of the day, again, they're building the game. They get final say. But again, glad they were asking. One little tidbit near the end that I actually found very, very interesting that Chris mentioned, and I think it was related to a question about kind of the future, but I had never really thought about it this way, that he mentioned something like, well, the economy really won't come to the UE5 game. That's really just more where people fly around cool ships. But you might want a different ship for Sage. And as I kept talking, it kind of got the feeling that I hadn't thought of it before, but is the UE5 game actually where you do economic tasks? Well, Sage Labs, definitely. You do mining and you do crafting. I guess you don't sell it. That's the marketplace, which is the web thing. But I had never really thought about it. Is the UE5 not? And I don't know, maybe if, again, just because we heard about the UE5 game first, I'm not even sure if the web browser was ever part of the original plan. That's an interesting question. Oh, I remember somebody say they were going to do a history of Star Atlas to date. That would be a great document to be able to reference. But because again, I'm thinking back 2 years ago when I bought my first ship. I was buying a ship. I was buying a 3D thing, definitely. And then there was talk of quote unquote the mini game, which was can't remember the names. They had so many acronyms. But anyways, it was after. No. I guess it was. It was Score, but Score wasn't supposed to be what. Anyways, whatever. The point being is, I guess I just assumed there'd be economic actions in both platforms, but it sure sounded like from what Chris in the economy department alluded to was he doesn't foresee a lot of that coming to the UE5, or if not soon. And Sage would be the primary place. So you would go do something quote unquote fun in UE5 with your ship. And then if you want to be in the economy, you would go into Sage and be in there. And he kind of alluded to that, some people would just be in UE5 with their ship and they needed fuel. So they go to the marketplace and they buy fuel, not realizing that fuel is actually crafted by someone else in the thing. So 2 takeaways. One, slightly disappointed, I guess, only because like I mentioned a few minutes ago about mining, I wanted to be a 3D person and walking around on the planet's surface and looking at my mining rig and seeing my space station surfing overhead where my ships were defending it. And again, maybe the new 3D Sage will give me some of that feeling, but definitely not first person view. I don't believe Sage is ever going to have a first person view, but again, I don't know. So to me, that's an economic loop. I don't know. Again, it was just something I had never thought of and found it very interesting. So appreciate him sharing all that. So anyway, so that's the wrap up. A little longer one. Like I said, it was quiet, but there were enough really interesting topics from people's articles and interviews, and they came out that, again, shows that even when things are quote unquote quiet, there's actually still a lot going on and lots of moving pieces and lots of interesting aspects. And if anything, looking forward to next year, if StarOS can deliver on, continued progress on the UE5 portion, on the web browser portion, get the mobile app out. I mean, that is, and then continually revise and improve. Yeah, we have our, whatever we're calling our ecosystem, our metaverse, and things like that. So again, if those three things move forward in another cycle in a relatively short period of time, if the token prices stay good, if the ship prices keep rising, and the team stays profitable, I mean, this could be the hurdle that no one probably would have expected a year ago when FTX had its issues and the money was lost on for Star Atlas. So anyways, I'll just leave it at that. So wrapping up the last couple things again, if you're interested in chatting with me, rambling, being interviewed, definitely looking for doing that, especially starting in the new year. So please go to intergalacticherald.com and look for the contact page there. While you're there, please sign up for my weekly news recap. Just type in your email and then you'll get all the content creators that I have followed, found their content interesting, and posted that together. I did realize, just as a quick aside, I'm only following English speaking, and that's not that wasn't a conscious decision. I have since learned there are a lot of great content creators in like Spanish and maybe another one. Sorry, I just only speak one language. So I kind of feel like I should know more, but I could just provide a link, and you probably, if you're a native speaker in one of those other languages, I'm glad you're being served by other content creators. So mine is an English list of content. So again, not intentionally trying to be exclusive, but I just acknowledged that I hadn't thought about it before. But yeah, anyways, so you can sign up for that and get that delivered to you Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time, if I do all my stuff on the weekends, right? And then lastly, if you want to check out a couple of the StarOS projects I'm working on, one is my StarOS merch store called Intergalactic Gear, intergalacticgear.com. Please go there and fill out my merch survey. I don't require your email, but if you submit it, you'll definitely be part of a founding group of people that get news and information and deals and stuff like that. But I didn't want to make that requirement for the survey, but definitely my long-term plan is to create a list of people that are interested, and I'll send out stuff to that group. And then the final one is my non-guild guild, community coalition of Star Atlas gamers called intergalacticcoalition.com. There I do have an interest survey. Definitely there. Please submit your email. Maybe I made that one required. I can't remember, but definitely looking to get a core group of people. And once we kind of reach that threshold and everybody kind of agrees to the pricing model, I'll go ahead and set up the software and we can start having a place to hang out. So that's it. A couple more weekends in this year. Again, we'll either have tons to talk about if the three different products from StarOS make it out in the next couple weeks, or not. And I guess time will tell. Otherwise, have a great week ahead. This is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald.